Like I want to have more of a life. I want to have more of a opportunity, because now it's to the point where like, what am I gonna do after this? I'm gonna go work at another fine dining restaurant, work my way up from being a bitch cook to sous chef, and then I'm stuck. It's either I'm gonna have to buy into a restaurant, take over a restaurant, or start my own restaurant, and all of those things from what I've seen are gonna, like, if you don't make money, what's the point? Hey, I'm Nick. I'm a cook in Montreal, and this is LOWKEY MTL.
Prochaine station.
LOWKEY MTL.
It's ridiculous. The amount of work it takes to get like that plate of food on your table it's stupid.
So just give it back. So where exactly were you working?
Right now I work at Infant Help. I'm the sous chef there.
Okay, and didn't this restaurant get like an award or something?
Yeah, recently they won the LOWKEY Clinic for best restaurant in Quebec. The shared one they had for COVID.
Okay, so how does that even work? Like, how do you get in? Do you have to like sign up for that competition, or is it like people come find you?
You gotta pop up on the radar as being a good place, and then eventually it's like you've heard of the Michelin Guide?
No.
Okay, the Michelin Guide is like throughout Europe and the States, where there's a lot more money in any kind of cultural thing, especially food. We'll have like a rating system for restaurants where we'll send testers to come in, they try your food, and based on like criteria they have pre-established, they'll rate your restaurant and give it like a rating of 1, 2, or 3 stars for Michelin, or Goemio, which is another rating system. It's like the number of tucks or some shit.
And that's international?
It's international, but it's only like Canada has none of that.
Okay.
Like I guess they deemed that Canada's just not up to the culinary standard of the rest of the world.
Really? Like even Toronto and stuff? Toronto,
I'm pretty sure there is a restaurant that made the top 100 list, like in the world, which is amazing. Like, it's fucking incredible to be able to do that from Canada, because the rating systems, they need enough money to be able to stay afloat here.
Oh, okay.
And so Goemio originally tried coming to Canada, but went bankrupt, which for the rest of these rating systems is a bad sign. So they just
But do you think that's like a part of the I don't know about Montreal specifically, but just Canada in general or whatever? Like, is that a problem? Like the whole like financial aspect of it, or is that just like a universal problem in all restaurant industries?
In any restaurant, look, the first thing I was ever told going into cooking from my cooking teacher, or like before that I was still working in kitchens, you're never gonna make money. And when I say money, like you're never gonna make like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. Like you're there because you love doing it. I personally think that if you're making below minimum wage in a cooking job, which is a reality for a lot of people, you're not working hard enough.
Is there another goal though? Like, can you work that for a couple of years and then move up in that world?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure, but you need to have kind of what it takes, or you need to be at the right spot, be able to do the things you need to do, and have the attention to detail that the guy who's hiring you needs you to have, kind of thing.
Right. I wonder if, like, marketing wise, like, say you were like, it's between you and this other dude, and you guys are basically equals, but one guy has.
Oh, it's cutthroat, dude.
Yeah, but like, what if one guy has like a crazy social media following and has like a online personality? Like, does that put him above the other guy?
I honestly couldn't tell you. Okay. I think maybe some places, like they're definitely like nicer. I guess, what would you call it before? Clout.
Yeah.
Like when people pay attention to someone's like social standing,
right?
That will have an impact, because that guy will be able to bring in business.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, this guy works here, you know.
Other places, someone's extremely talented, but nobody knows him. Like they'll put the money and they'll invest in you if you can bring in business. Like that's really what it comes down to, right? Because you need the restaurant to make money at the end of the day.
Right.
As difficult as that.
So mainly it's like about the product. Like, you have to have a good product.
For sure.
And
for sure, they're not gonna hire someone with like 25 million followers but can't cook worth shit. Yeah.
But what kind of food are you making at Le Flottant?
It's like fine dining fusion.
Okay.
So it's essentially like, at least from the time that I've been there, it's been a lot of concepts that come up. And so he'll have ideas.
What do you mean by concepts?
He'll come up with an idea.
Who's he?
My chef.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll come up with an idea. Like the last one was fish in a hayfield. right? Or fish in a cornfield or something like that, because corn is in season, mushroom is in season, and halibut's really fresh.
Okay.
So we'll have to come up with a dish that has halibut, corn, and I think it was chanterelles at the time. They were really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the idea that you then need to make something around of. A lot of the time he'll pitch ideas and be like, okay, well, I need a recipe for this. And then my job is to help him or come up with a recipe for it that's going to be good enough to put on the menu.
So what does that setting look like? Do you guys have like a whiteboard and you're like brainstorming shit, or is it just like, are you guys in like teams, or is it like one entire team just working on stuff?
No, it's, at least for the time that I've been there, it's been a lot of me and him. What we'll do is, before like starting up the restaurant, for instance, just me and him in a notebook, and he'd have like this idea, that idea, this idea. Okay, we need an idea for this. So we just start coming up with 25 different things, narrowing it down. And when we have the right idea, then it's just testing each fucking thing for that recipe or for the dish until it comes together to make something nice.
Okay.
Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So like, what do you guys do for like to entice creativity? Is there like anything that allows you to be more creative, or like
A lot of weed.
a lot of weed? Okay.
A lot of weed, but I mean, in terms of chefs,
Just weed.
we dabble in definitely some other drugs. I mean,
Do you have a deadline to create a menu? Like, is there
for sure, opening date, and then because it's such a seasonal restaurant.
Oh, it's a seasonal restaurant.
Meaning
right?
we're literally going to the market, which their produce is in season up until the point. The second we hit that point, it's gone. They don't carry it anymore.
So do you have to get dibs on that, like, supplier and stuff?
Like, no, we have like accounts and stuff, and we'll call them and be like, hey, I need this when it comes into season, or like, this is season, make orders, like, boom, 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 boom.
But are you guys going out to like farms and like where this stuff is coming from and like testing?
That's coming.
Okay,
That's
cool.
coming. I think they have something in the works with like an ex-employee who started a farm.
Oh,
it's gonna
nice.
be fucking cool.
Yeah, because that's like, I never realized that there's that goes into it as well. Like, in my head, it was always just like you just have a bunch of suppliers and then you just ask what you want.
I mean, for the most part, that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say like for like a Costco joint, right? They've got suppliers that'll have everything they need year round. Doesn't matter, fucking December, July, you can get the same shit, so you stay constant all year.
And is that suppliers exclusive to that restaurant, or are they like supplying to a bunch of other restaurants as well?
All suppliers will cater to just about anyone who's willing to pay them for their shit.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And they'll bring in what they need to make that demand. That's on them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys make this. So like by opening day, all this stuff is already like tasted and tested. And who's tasting and testing this stuff?
We are.
Just you two?
He gets the final say. It is his restaurant at the end of the day.
Do you guys ever test it out on like just everyday clients and see reactions? No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
The dishes go on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
They change throughout the time that they're on the menu. Like, it's not the same thing, exactly the same thing as time goes on. Yeah. I mean, if we find something like, hey, well, you know, like I did it like this one day and it tasted better, like, hey, we'll do it like that then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's not always like the same quantity, same recipe.
No.
Like,
for the most part, like, again, this is all for Il Flottant. They didn't really have recipes either.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of more like, you know, kind of what you're going to need to do, how it's supposed to end up, and then his judgment's going to be the final say for what's going to go on the dish.
Okay.
Which is cool. It makes it a lot, at least more like a creative experience through and through than like, here's everything down to the gram, don't go over, don't go under. Here's your sterile cooking experience. Enjoy. And do that for 10 hours a day.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I always wondered why, like, Montreal specifically didn't really have celebrity chefs or like people that are known, but you're telling me that there are, but you just have to be really like
there are, but like I was saying, there are, but it's not like they are in the States.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my,
or in like Toronto even, like Maddie Matheson and like people
yeah, again, huge following, but like I'd say the biggest thing would be like Dave McMillan, Fred Warren from the Joe Beef crew, or like Danny Smiles. Those guys are, I mean, you know, they've gone TV famous, they've been on shows and stuff, gotten their name out there as being incredible chefs, which they are.
Do you think it's like strictly because of their restaurant and their
for sure
chefing?
For sure, yeah. There's no way that, I mean.
Yeah, because I was wondering, like, Il Flottant, like, besides Like how, like I wouldn't just, if I'm like gonna go out and eat, right?
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't just fall on Il Flotan. Like I feel like I would have to look for something specific to
You'd have
find
to,
Il
yeah.
Flotan, you
It's
know?
not. I find the name isn't as out there as it should be
Mm-hmm.
because like they've been on the Canada Top 100 list.
Exactly.
For
But
a
like, are
few
people
years.
looking at that when they're going out to eat? There is definitely a certain amount of people that are doing that.
Like going to specifically look for that kind of place.
Yeah, like what's your main demographic that comes into that restaurant? You know?
It's tough, man, because we get people from out of town.
Mhm.
We get people from in Montreal that know it, but at the same time, like I'd be lying to you if I said it's cheap. Right? Like it's not a cheap meal.
Yeah, and is it filling?
Extremely. It's 7 courses, and that's the other thing is it's not for everyone. Like not everyone wants to sit down in a restaurant for 2 hours and enjoy like a full service meal.
So you're not choosing specific things on a menu. You're just kind
You
of
have no
going in
choice.
for an experience.
We don't even have a written menu.
Oh, so you just literally just go there,
You
sit
walk
down.
in, you are getting what you're getting. They can either tell you the menu or you want to leave it up to chance and get a surprise. That's up
Oh,
to you.
shit,
But
no
yeah,
way.
that's that. Which, from our perspective, like as a cooking side, sick.
Can you? Yeah, especially for
Sick.
like stock and everything. You know, like you guys have, you can like really calculate like how much you need.
There's always waste.
Okay, yeah.
Like it is impossible to get the perfect amount of everything you need for a day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot less waste than it would be in like an a la carte restaurant where they've got 65 different things on the menu. And you need to be like, okay, well, maybe 30% of people are going to order this. Maybe 30%.
Yeah, you gotta like kind of guess, right?
For sure, you're always stuck with shit afterwards. Shit you got to throw out, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And as you're saying, seasonal, right? So
Yeah.
Is the menu completely changing? Like when?
It's going to have to.
Okay.
Changing a menu start to finish, especially for 7 courses,
Mhm.
is an astronomical amount of work.
And how often does that happen?
Almost never. It used to be, before I was there, he used to change the menu every week.
Wow. Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is psychotic. But
Yeah.
he is a very creative guy, but
And he's passionate.
extremely.
Yeah,
But that's insane. That's an insane amount of work. You're not taking any breaks doing that.
for sure.
So instead, you pull a dish off, put a dish on, maybe change a dish, change the idea of it, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Makes it a lot easier. You can like temper it into the menu, put it on, adjust as you go. It makes it like a lot smoother and less of a. There's so much stress and pressure to get all 7 of these plates perfect for the 60
Yeah,
people you're gonna
that
have
would
tonight.
just never happen. You know? Yeah, that would just be like impossible.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your background is you went to culinary school,
I did.
and how long is the program?
I went to LaSalle College, which was a year-long program.
Okay.
And I got rejected the first time because I had gone to school in the States, and they don't accept it here in Quebec.
Okay. Other than that, is there any like prereqs or anything you need to be able to get into?
Going to cooking
Yeah.
school? No.
Okay.
You can do anything beforehand and still
Okay,
go to
okay.
cooking. They don't give a shit.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't even need to go to cooking school to be a cook. It's similar like you were saying with videography. I mean,
Okay.
you could just literally get a job as a dishwasher and work your way up to cooking, and you're set from there.
Oh, really? But like, how would your portfolio work as a cook then?
That's where it comes in, is having the culinary education, at least in my experience, gets you that foot in the door at nicer places that you'll then be able to build your CV with.
True. Okay.
Because like, let's say you want to go and work at one of those places in Europe. Some of the places in Montreal have recognition there. Like they see the name, they're like, okay, like he's not a complete fucking moron, but we'll figure it out. That's why like you were able to build up a series of places that give you some kind of like, okay, he knows how to cook,
Mhm.
and that'll get you in just about anywhere.
And how long were you working?
And, like,
Total?
total?
It wasn't just Il Flotan, right? Did you have any prior?
Nope, I worked at Quédet and Bouillon Bilk.
Mhm.
I worked at McKiernan's as well before that.
Are these all like the same type of restaurant, like Il Flotan style?
No.
Okay.
No, Il Flotan is I think there are maybe 2 or 3 places that are like Il Flotan. Like I mean, genuinely just tasting menu focused.
Mhm.
That's all in Montreal, and it's Il Flotan, Le Mousseau. It's probably another one I'm forgetting, but
Okay.
I'm sure there are others. But those 2, at least in my opinion, that's like you're working to be the best at that point.
And then how'd you find Il Flotan?
Extremely challenging, but tons of fun.
But like, how'd you find yourself at Il Flotan? Like,
How'd I get there?
Yeah, how did that happen?
I was coming out of culinary school, and this was like in between the pandemics. I found myself there. I was looking for a job because obviously, like every cook, I got laid off from the job once everything shut down.
Mhm.
And I was looking for a job. I really didn't want to go back to what I was doing. I found the environment at the place I was working before like just kind of sterile and like.
So not like that industry in total, but just that specific.
Not the industry. It's not like the industry. At least the experience in the industry will change from place to place.
Yeah.
Some places are more like, okay, well, like these are your ingredients. Be reasonable with how much of what you put into it, but we need this as a final product.
Yeah.
Versus there's some places where, like I said, you're weighing everything out to the gram. It better be exactly like anyone else can make it here, sort of thing. And that, like, there's no soul in it. It's it's boring.
It's very like
it's more like a mass production
automated,
thing.
like mass
Exactly.
production. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, wait, what the fuck did I just ask you?
How'd I get there? Which I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I forgot. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, so looking for a job, and I sent out like a shit ton of CVs to places that were reopening.
Yeah, you could just pass me the bottle.
Yeah, sure. And I got an answer back from them.
Yeah.
And I went in for the interview and was hands down just like, we're really like, I consider him to be one of my good friends. Like, I love the guy to death, but it was hands down just the most cracked interview I've ever had in my life. I walked in there and I was like really nervous because I knew about the place. I fucking always wanted to work there, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in there super like okay, I gotta make a great impression.
Get your shit together, Nick.
He's an hour late, walks in, high out of his fucking mind, and he starts talking to me about I'm not even sure what for like an hour and a half, and then just looks at me and goes, "So, when can you start?" Like I had said nothing at this point, and I'm like, "Wait, shit! Like when do you need me to start?"
Yeah.
I fucking started from there. I did weekends for free while I was in school.
Yeah.
And then the second I was out of school and the stage started, because you do have like a portion where you get to go and work at a place for like a month and you're still in school.
Yeah.
Just went from there.
Okay, and then you just
kept going.
Stuck with it.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. But where do you find yourself now in the point, like, because how many years has it been that you've been?
Total?
Yeah.
I've been in the industry for about 5 years.
5 years, right?
Yeah.
So what do you see for yourself now? Like, do you think you're going to be doing this long term?
Originally, when I started,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the goal for any cook is you want your own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, fucking tunnel vision, that's what I'm working towards. There is nothing else in my life because truth be told, like you're doing those kinds of hours, you're putting that much time and effort into it. There is nothing else in your life. Like,
yeah, and you also have to like give yourself a reason for why you're doing that. Those crazy.
For
hours.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And a lot of people, it's passion. Like you really have to be passionate about it or you're miserable. Like that's just how it is.
But how much of that is like someone lying to themselves saying that this is my passion, you know what I mean?
So.
Because I find it like in so many industries.
For sure that exists.
Yeah.
For sure. And deep down, I think that's part of the reason most cooks are drunks. Or most chefs are drunks. Because now they found themselves at a point where they have financial responsibility behind an industry that's very difficult to make money in. I mean, max. Like you are the best restaurant in the city. You're making what, like 5 to 8% profit?
Mm. Yeah.
That's insane. Off of $1 million, that's like what, 50 grand? Like,
yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, like I
Fucking
wonder what the hype it is about that world, and like some people just open up a bunch of places and they just keep going, and they're all just like literally most restaurant industries, like you said, it's like paycheck to paycheck in a sense. You know what I mean?
It is paycheck to paycheck. That though, financial responsibility, again, like there are people who are financially responsible and cooks. I'm not saying this is like everyone out there.
Yeah.
But for a lot of chefs I've met, it's no concept of it. But I find that's like the artist in them and like being addicted to the way they feel kind of every moment of their lives where they need to have that sense of like, okay, well, you know what? Like I have this prestige about me where I'm able to go and do these things and I'm going to make that happen for myself, which I understand. I mean, you spend 20 hours a day working in a kitchen. It's super stressful, super high pressure. You're always angry, rushed. Like you want to let loose. Like you need some sort of escape from that.
For sure, yeah.
Every now and again, like.
And like how many days a week is this 20 hours, you know?
For what I'm doing, I think on average, it's anywhere from 16 to 18,
Okay.
4 days a week, which, amazing. That's a phenomenal trade-off.
Yeah, because you get 3 days off.
Exactly.
But what are you doing those 3 days, you know? Like.
Sundays sleep. I don't want to fucking hear from anyone. I don't want to. Like, my mother could be dying, and I still don't want to hear about it. Like, just don't talk to me.
I'll deal with this.
That's it, man. I can't feel my body by the end of it. You're lying in bed, practically handicapped. You know, like everything hurts, and just this is my life now.
Mm-hmm. And then day 2, you're like, all right, I can do this.
Day 2, you gotta be functional. You gotta go and get your shit done, and then you got day 3 to be like wind it down a bit, kind of. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because like you just fucking disappeared at one point when you guys were working on that menu. I remember.
Oh, it was gone.
Yeah,
that's it.
And like, oh, we're never gonna see fucking Nick again. They just come out.
No, I mean, there was that, and then there was the cost cut that we did.
What's that?
So we, you know what the French Canadian cost cut is?
I definitely heard of it.
Hot dogs, burgers, but
right, yeah,
that's cost cut.
The up north right? Poots. Yeah, sure.
So during the lockdown, we had nothing to do. And he was like, hey, like, let's fucking do this. He goes, let's put some money into it. I can't stand being at home anymore and, like, working for some other place as a cook. He's like, I can't do it. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
So we came up with a menu, tested an entire menu, and we started just slinging hot dogs. We made a fucking sick vegan burger, too, where it actually tastes like meat and feels like meat, which was insane. And then everything, like, vegetarian puts in. The hot dog had meat in it. Our own ice creams and stuff like that for milkshakes.
Was it like a storefront, or were you guys just
open the garage doors in front of the restaurant and just straight out the window?
Oh shit!
Cash only. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking sick.
Yeah, there's still like even now there's cash. Like a lot of restaurants are cash only.
For sure. I think the government's still subsidizing, so that might be something to
talk about.
But no, so we had been doing that, and we were 2 guys, you know, kind of doing the entire menu and all the work for it. And then an article came out about it. And so the people just pretty much doubled in a week. So we were already doing like 5 days a week to prep for this thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like really fucking 5 days a week up until the weekend starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're there at 6 o'clock in the morning making the bread for everything. Service goes till 5. Then repeat the next day. Monday comes around. Same thing over again. Then the second article came out and it was just getting like, it was just fucking out of hand. Like we were just selling out every goddamn weekend. Everything was gone.
So you're just trying to keep up at that point.
Yeah, so that got just batshit insane. We had people coming who were like, because you know, you kind of knew things were going to be opening up.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, looking for people to hire and tell them, be like, hey, like when we open up, you interested? They were coming and helping out for free because no one was being paid at this point. It was just kind of tips going around and that was it. They were coming to help out, and it was just like they were there for like 10 hours a day, or they'd come for service to help out a bit. And then as soon as that ended, it went straight into testing for the new menu and open up.
What's the turnaround situation there? Like if I go in as a client and I sit down, like as soon as I'm done the course, like is it just like, here's your bill, like get out of here?
Oh, no. So a good restaurant will like give you, like when they plan for a table to be reserved, it's reserved for a chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, most people, don't get me wrong, there are exceptions. People want to stay there for 9 hours and just live their life sitting at that table. But most people will have like, 2.5 hours for a meal, which more than enough. Like if you're there for over 2.5 hours, figure your shit out, get out.
And it's like reserve only, right?
Yeah. So we do take walk-ins, but reservations take priority, and most of the time it's all reservations, which again is really nice, so we can know how much of everything we need.
100%, yeah.
But you have 2.5 hours. It's like 15 minutes in between per course, sort of, give or take. Obviously things go longer and shorter, but that 2.5 hours is just all encompassing.
So besides that, like in the culinary like world of Montreal, is there like a competition thing, or is there like a collaborative thing? Like, are there different like subgroups of people? Like,
for sure.
I wonder like how.
For sure. Yeah. No. I mean, in any kind of thing, right? Like you work in an industry, you're friends with certain people in that industry. You form a group around it. There are different cliques, different groups of like restaurant owners who know each other, and they'll all go and hang out. Overall, it's really friendly. The part of it that I don't like is the superficial like I'm that good sort of thing. The ego to it is something I am never gonna get with. Like it bothers me in my core.
Is everybody like that though?
I don't know about everyone.
But I also feel like it's set up in that way. Like you always have to be like, yes, chef. Like and you gotta like. It's just like the verbiage around it is like subconsciously puts that in you. It
does. But working in the industry it's not a democracy. You go into a kitchen, you're not there to voice your opinion. No one gives a fuck about your opinion. Like, you're there to do a job, and you can't do it. Here's the door. Have fun. But no, that's the thing. It's more like a professional jerk off competition where everyone's like, oh, so impressed with what the other person's doing, but
like
secretly on the side they're like, that's fucking dog shit. Like, I can't.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, like it's like and that portion of it, like the social aspect of people in the industry, like on a cook level, super cool people. They love their job, they're happy to be doing the job kind of thing, and they're fun to talk to because it's not all about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I find when you get into you're around chefs talking about their restaurants and the menus they're doing and stuff, then it becomes more like an ego thing, and I have no interest in that.
But they're not all like that, right? There's some people.
For sure, no.
Yeah.
For sure, you'll pull these guys on the side and actually have a conversation with them. They're fucking chill, great guys. It's just when it becomes that it's like give your nuts tug.
Do you think that's like slowly changing at all? Like, is there like a
no?
So no, I think that's gonna always be a thing.
For sure. I mean, you're always gonna have competition in the industry. Yeah,
but I'm saying like the whole like the bouginess of it, of like, yo, my food is the best.
Depends, because you go to like a brasserie style restaurant, it's definitely not the same
kind of nachos.
No, when I say brasserie, like French brasserie, like a la carte stuff, where they do it really well, but it's not like fine dining where you're there with fucking tweezers plating different kinds of gelatinized balls and shit. Terrible example, but that's like the people. I'm not saying they're worse at what they do, but it's definitely not the same kind of like I'm after this prestige of being number one, if that makes sense.
Like their work doesn't portray that.
Not necessarily the work doesn't portray it. I don't think they have that sort of need. You know what I mean? Like I find the simpler, like people who do really simple food really fucking well. You won my heart. That's amazing. Like I love those kinds of fucking places, but I like the lack of the ego and the need for recognition for what you're doing and the flair for it. Like you are doing that because you love what you do, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like a true passionate thing.
Yeah, and by doing that, people will just know who you are because you'll be
automatically
for sure. Food's good, people will come. That's just period.
But don't you think like if there's enough content, because I'm very like content orientated, and I just feel like, don't you think if there's enough like of an audience, maybe like online, that could have a thing to do with bringing people to your restaurant as well? Like Matty Matheson again, like he has his, I think it's like a burger shop he has in Toronto.
Matty's Patties,
exactly. Yeah. So that thing is always packed, but yeah, it probably is a good burger, but it has to be because he's in the chef world, so it has to be approved, right? But I feel like there's like a certain, like an extra like untapped market that's gonna go there because of the eyeballs online.
For sure,
you know?
For sure. You get your name out there and people know who you are and you have a reputation for doing something well.
Yeah.
Of course, people are gonna come. If he made a burger shop and the burger was dog shit, I'm sure he would have like an initial burst of clients who would then realize it's dog shit and never come again.
True. And there's like the role of reviewers, right? How does that work in Montreal? Like, is there like a bunch of undercover people?
Brutal, and I'll be honest with you, it's gotten worse since things have opened up from the lockdown.
Oh yeah.
People are nastier. Yeah. And I don't understand why. Like, you were so thrilled with staying home and cooking your own meals that you finally get like to come out and someone cooks for you and you're like, you know what? This was slightly undercooked, a touch too much seasoning, overall okay. Like fuck you, stay home.
Are you guys able to like see like or like tell if somebody's coming and reviewing food, or like?
They're definitely like, we know who the bigger bloggers are,
right?
Or the food reviewers for like certain articles, certain newspapers, certain magazines and stuff. Like
there's no warning. They don't tell you that they're coming, right? It's just kind of.
No, of course not. I mean, the reservation list we have, like sometimes they'll book under another name kind of thing. We'll see them come in, and then it's fucking like everything needs to be. Yeah, it gets like that real quick.
And when you're plating stuff, like I was just curious, like you're plating a shit ton of stuff like throughout the day, right? So is there somebody like that double checks in those kind of restaurants, or like looks at something and gives it back to you, like, yo, fucking
he will typically keep an eye out for things going out of the kitchen, but we are a small crew. And
how many are you guys in total?
Before, when I started, we were 4. which we were doing, I think, the same number of courses we're doing now, and it worked out because we had a dishwasher who would also be able to plate a dish kind of thing.
Right, okay.
But it was still like, it was a fucking hustle. Like every day was a fucking hustle, and I love that. You know what I mean? Like it's a ton of fun.
What did you like about it? Just the aspect of like busyness and time flying by?
Busyness, time flying by, the learning too. Like some of the stuff he was doing, I had never even seen before. I'd never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool to be able to just like on the fly, be able to. He'd be like, "Hey, do this, do this, do this." He goes, "This is the final product. Has to be like this every time." So that would give me something to work towards. Like regardless if it was the same thing every day, like I would see that it would be getting better and better and better until easier and faster.
Yeah, I see the whole process, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
it was fucking nice.
So why do you feel like you want something more stable now, in a sense? You know, like, or why do you think like some people rather the stability and like something like a 9 to 5 versus?
Because it's taxing, man. Like regardless of how much you love it, you're always gonna hit a point in your life where like I see everyone around me, you know, working, doing well at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Super proud of them for that, but they have a life on the side. Like they're able to go and do kind of what they want to do. You know, their day ends at 5. You can do anything after that.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm there from 9 a.m. till 2 o'clock in the morning. Like that's my day right there. There's no, I can't go grocery shopping. I can't go and fucking
9
see something.
a.m.
Yeah, no, like I'm there in the morning. In the winter, you fucking practically don't see the light of day, kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's not bad. Like I said, you really need to have a passion and a love for what you're doing, and I do. I never wanted to let it get to a point where I have stopped giving a shit about what I'm doing, and it's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, when you get to that point, that's
everything I've worked for just gone. Like now my reputation's in the shitter, and fuck that. But like I want to have more of a life. I want to have more of a opportunity. Because now it's to the point where, like, what am I going to do after this? I'm going to go work at another fine dining restaurant, work my way up from being a bitch cook to sous chef, and then I'm stuck. It's either I'm going to have to buy into a restaurant, take over a restaurant, or start my own restaurant. And all of those things, from what I've seen, are going to, like, if you don't make money, like, what's the point? I guess to me, that's another big factor.
Yeah. So, like, what do you think the solution would be? Because, like, if I were to compare it to, like, the content world or whatever, right?
Sure.
It's always about just outsourcing your work and like having someone else do certain things for you so that it makes your life easier and you have more time. So like, is there something that you could do the same way?
Absolutely. I mean, you can hire people to take your spot in the kitchen.
But in a kitchen like that, it has to be like...
You can do that too, but you need to trust that guy's got the same standards you have.
Exactly.
Your quality's going down.
But is there a way to do that? Like, is that...
For sure. You train someone.
But again, it's like more money, right?
Not necessarily more money. You got to find someone who's of the same mindset. You train them up to being that person that, like, everything goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's just, like, fucked up completely. You know that guy's going to be like, hey, here's what we're doing. You don't have to think about it. He's got it covered. Yeah. It's back to the way it was almost instantly.
Yeah.
Which is tough because you need to put the time, the effort, all of it into giving him everything he needs to be able to turn into that person.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's tough to give somebody or like trust somebody like that when you put so much time and effort into something, right?
Imagine handing your life's work over to someone where
like,
you're going to take a step back from being like the all-controlling, practically a god in that space to someone else to be able to do everything. And you come in and you check everything. You start to find stuff is slipping or like if this is kind of shitty, this isn't perfect. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it is like I don't know. I just wondered if there's. It's like if you handed all your editing over to a friend of yours who you knew was good, and then you looked over all his work and it just was kind of meh.
Yeah,
you'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, look, I have that fear. Like, there's a bunch of things that I was able to give to other people to edit.
For sure.
It would always last minute. It always change my mind. Like, never mind. You know what? It's fine.
And that's the difference. Is you're able to double check their work.
Yeah.
5 o'clock comes around, like someone's in the room, they're waiting for their stuff. You can't make them wait for like 20 minutes. You're
and like
shit.
And like that shit would bother me too, like because once it's out, right?
Yeah.
And the other aspect is like going back and like changing everything and like fuck all. Yeah. So I guess there's no solution. You just gotta be depressed and just cook, you know.
That's it.
So do you think there's like a mental health issue going on in the culinary world?
Yeah, 100%.
You just cramp up?
Yeah, that happens very often. Don't worry about it.
Fucking culinary industry, eh?
Really get you. Yes, I think like generally speaking, and again, it doesn't apply to everyone. Not every cook is fucking depressed out there, but it for sure, for sure. I mean, you go into a restaurant and you start like a cook's job, like chef de partie, or you're working as just a line cook kind of thing. Like, you're doing for what most people would consider an insane amount of hours. I'd say about half of those, or maybe like a third, are in service, and that's under pressure. And on top of that, you've got someone who's overchecking all your work, and that person either can or can't handle pressure. They can't handle pressure, screaming, yelling, throwing plates back at you, calling you an asshole. Like, that's real. It's not like a made-up movie thing that they're just like, oh, it would be fun if they did that. Mm-hmm. They do. Like, it's real. And that gets to people, you know. It starts to wear at you over time. It's not like you spend a shift doing it and you're like, ugh, I hate my life, I'm going to kill myself. Like, where's the Champlain Bridge?
It builds over time.
It builds over time. You spend 6-7 months in there and you're like, okay, like, you know, you spend every day where someone's telling you you're fucking useless, you're shit at what you do. Like, it gets to you, for sure.
So, like, your work environment, do you think you would be able to, like, because you're always in a setting of, like, work, right, in that environment. So, do you think with the same people you'd be able to go on, like, a leisure, like, cottage trip or something?
For sure. Yeah.
And, like, what would that setting look like? Would you be like
at a fucking getaway where we can do whatever?
Yeah, would it be like
we can get on the debauche. It'd be fucking amazing. It'd be sick.
Free for all.
Yeah, no, like someone in service versus someone like outside of work, like they're great fucking people. Like they're tons of fun to hang around.
Yeah, because it's
super
like
personable.
It's like polar opposites, right? Like you're like
for sure, but once service hits and everyone's under the gun, like the guy next to you wants to kill you, but as soon as it's done, like, hey, let's go for a beer. Like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go do some shrooms up north. Yeah. For sure. Have you guys ever thought of taking like a psychedelic and like coming up with a menu, or is that even a thing in the restaurant world? Yeah, suck that jewel, baby. Turn me on. Oh shit.
For sure. I'm sure there's someone out there who takes psychedelics, come up with menus. If you look at like the super fine dining stuff where they're like always pushing boundaries on what something can be, some of the stuff they come up with is just batshit mental.
Yeah, some of the dishes just look like...
And there are restaurants that you haven't even heard of that are doing stuff that, like, most of you would be like, and when I say you, I mean, like, most of you as an individual would look at that and be like, what the fuck, man?
How do they come up with this?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
No, like, what? Like, why?
Oh,
like, why couldn't you just leave it alone?
Yeah.
You know? At the same time, it's like, okay, like, you know, they're pushing, like, this works, this doesn't work, this is cool. That's just straight up fucking disgusting. Like, you know, you kind of work around that and see what these guys are doing. That's how cooking progresses. Ferran Adria, I know this isn't exactly what you wanted to talk about, but it is fucking cool from a perspective of like how cooking gets to where it is. Ferran Adria, who is the head chef of El Bulli out in Spain, which is one of the most famous restaurants of all time because they pushed cooking in a time where it was still like, you know, classic French. These are the rules. That's that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
And they had a creation lab where they would just come up with recipes, come up with new techniques, new ways to do things, and created. I think they did something like they weren't there for a shit ton of time. It was like 5 or 6 years, but don't quote me on that. They came up with something with like a couple thousand dishes in that time, which is absurd. That is an insane amount of shit to come up with. And that's what really kind of set the fine dining trend of being able to break through. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, no, the guy was on like the Rolling Stones. He fucking changed the game for a lot of people.
Shit. Was there, do you think celebrity chefs started happening after that?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay,
Absolutely.
What year was this? Like when was this?
I want to say like early 2000s to like 2010-ish.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the chefs you see now, like on Chef's Table and stuff, the fine dining guys, Grant Achatz or Gagan, a guy from India who has a crazy cool restaurant. They're all people who came and like worked in his kitchen to be able to see what he was doing or have heard of him, seen his recipes. Like they get inspired by that kind of thing. They're like, you know, like why the fuck would you want to follow traditional French recipes and techniques?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like break out of your own box, do what you got to do. And it's kind of weird to say, but like it wasn't too long ago where this is how it had to be if you wanted a good rating, and that's that, you know.
Yeah, and that's where all the whole like fusion world comes in, where like people are now like, what are your thoughts on fusion?
Like fusing two
Yeah,
dishes
like
together, or like two cultures to
two
make a
cultures
dish.
together. Yeah, like
Amazing,
okay.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, every dish is subject to opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that someone to come up with something that everyone enjoys, that tastes good, where he's sourcing from different cultures, different ingredients, things that just generally shouldn't go or don't go. I think that's sick. I think it's great.
Have you traveled outside of
Mostly
Montreal?
throughout Europe.
Okay.
I haven't been to like South America or any other part of the world for that matter. But
and is there any restaurants or something like that like really stood out for you, or was that at a time where you were already in the culinary world? Like, did you travel after being in the culinary world?
No, it was actually before.
Oh, okay.
It was before.
So, like, internationally speaking, is there any spots that you want to hit up? Like,
where I would want to go to eat?
Yeah, like there's places that
I'd want to go to Noma.
Where?
Absolutely. The restaurant called Noma.
Noma?
Out in, is that a good beep or a bad beep?
It's just I think my GoPro just died.
Oh.
Oh shit, it's hot. Whatever, we'll let it cool down.
Yeah, Noma. It's a place out in Copenhagen.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just won best restaurant in the world, actually. But guys who are like super into everything that's like fresh, natural, a lot of fermentation and stuff like that, in a very like Norse style of cooking, I would kill to eat there. See what they do.
What kind of food is it?
Fine dining is about the best I'd be able to describe it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to like fine dining, there's like the cultural aspect goes away, I feel.
I think the cultural aspect there, I just, it's more like you're not so much eating like a cultural dish.
Mexican
like fine
tacos.
dining Mexican cuisine
Yeah.
isn't like a fancy fucking taco, right?
Yeah.
The guy's pulled apart the corn from a taco, he's made it into like a loaf of bread or some shit, and that's stuffed with like, it's just anything this guy thinks would be cool.
Right.
And if it is or it isn't, that's for everyone else to decide. But like, yeah, it'd be fucking a lot of places I'd love to go. When I was deciding to be a cook, it was a time where I was doing like a lot of LSD, and I was in school for chemistry at that time. And
you started off in chemistry?
I did, yeah.
Cooking is like a form of chemistry.
It is. Yeah. It is at the end of the day, but like the two, at least in my working experience in chemistry, had nothing to do with each other, and chemistry was fucking boring. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, I was doing a lot of hallucinogenics. And the one story you so want me to tell was I was on the verge of leaving the States to come back to Canada, and we had gone to a cottage in the woods to have like a fun boys weekend, try to kind of like see what we were going to do, and we each took like 5 or 6 tabs of LSD.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's like tripping balls inside this cottage.
You guys are you guys all like doing this for the first time, or is this like...
No, we've all done LSD before.
Okay.
Yeah, like enough that you would think that everyone's reasonable to deal with their own bullshit.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah.
So we're sitting around, I think we're just kind of like either shooting the shit and tripping out or talking or whatever, and one of my friends gets up and he's just like, guys, I gotta go. I'm like, okay. We're in the woods, we think like, it's safe, he wants to go play in the woods or some shit, go wild. Anyway.
So you just let him go out solo? Is it during the day or night?
Like evening.
Okay.
Like, it's not pitch black or where he's gonna get like killed by a mountain lion or something.
Yeah.
But like it's enough where we're like, okay, like whatever. Like go wild.
Yeah.
So he leaves. And we're still just kind of sitting there tripping out. Like we're just kind of fading in onto the balcony, looking at the nice view and shit, and coming back. And a couple hours easily went by, but like in that time space, it feels like a fucking eternity when you're high as shit.
Yeah.
And then we're like, God, like where did he go? Anyway, he comes back, like out of nowhere, and he's like, he looks afraid. He looks like you ever seen like someone who's really got like a fear in them, and not just like afraid, like, oh, I was like scared, like they're terrified.
Yeah.
We're like, hey man, like, how was it? Like, are you okay? He's like, guys, like, you wouldn't believe what I found in the woods. He gets like really fucking intense about it.
Now you guys are all like locked in.
Yeah, like you're super like tunnel vision focused on something, and it's him and his weird fucking story. And we're like, all right, like, what'd you find? He's like, I found like a leprechaun. Like, what? He's like, I found like a leprechaun. He's here. He's in the kitchen.
All right, so are you guys like almost believing this because you guys are all like lit right now, or are you guys like, this guy's just like... tripping out.
we're all seeing shit, and you're kind of dazed and spacey in and out of different thought
So
trains.
you're more like curious.
Someone says they found a leprechaun. I think regardless of what you're on, you're like, okay, like you saw some shit.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. Go back to your whatever. He's like, no, he's in the kitchen. Like I brought him back. We're like, okay. He goes, come on, kitchen out. So we all go to the kitchen, and like. There's they're nice cupboards. It's not like a shitty place, but it's like really like cottage style cupboards. Where there's like a big like open space where you store your pots and pans and shit.
Yeah.
And he opens the cupboard door, and there's like a kid there, and the kid looks scared. And he's got just like a bowl of milk.
What the fuck? Wait, how old is this kid? Bowl of milk?
The kid's like I'm a terrible judge of age, but he couldn't have been more than 10.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it was like it's fucked.
And just a bowl of milk.
Yeah, and we're like what the fuck? Like we're like, okay, like we're tripping balls or something, and there's nothing there, but like there's a kid there, and he looks frightened, and we're like, why the fuck does he have a bowl? And he's like, no, dude, that's how they eat. And we're like, no, no, it's not. And so like the more like the anxiety of like there's a strange child in the house we're in kind of builds, and eventually we call the cops, and they show up. We had to be like, hey, like he was lost, and we kind of had to take him in.
And is this kid like, if he's like 9 or 10, is he able to like talk?
I would think so.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine like the way the cops broke it down to us, because like we full out had to be like, look, we're high as fuck.
Okay.
We found a kid in the woods.
Yeah.
We didn't feel comfortable leaving him there.
Yeah.
So we just brought him back here, and we're just letting you take care of it now.
Mm-hmm.
They seem pretty cool about that. They gave us a slide on it. They're like, okay, like, don't leave the house. We're not gonna, bust you for the crazy amount of drugs you have in here.
Yeah.
Which at the time, like, at least in the States when I was there, they seemed a lot more relaxed about drugs than they did about alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And they seemed far more willing to be lenient if you just straight up admitted to it.
Yeah,
like,
if you're not lying to them.
Yeah, like don't fuck around. Just be like, hey, this is it.
Yeah.
Here's the child. Off you go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
So they just kind of came and took care of it.
Yeah, fuck. What the hell were we gonna do? Feed it more? Like,
well, you guys weren't curious about like where this kid came from or any of that?
in the moment, fuck no.
No, like later on, like did you guys figure it out?
Like the next morning, we're like, where the fuck did you find a kid?
Yeah.
Like what? How did you get him back here without him screaming?
Exactly. Like, yeah, how did this kid follow you?
Oh, it's fucked. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's just somehow fucking.
No, yeah. After the cops came, it's more like, okay, we're just gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna chill.
I don't want to know more than I have to.
Where was this again?
Colorado.
Oh, so there is like fucking mountains.
Colorado. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Colorado?
I was in school there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I lived there for end of my high school and then beginning of my university.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do you find the States compared to Canada?
Similar but different.
Mm-hmm.
As in similar, like it's like pretty much being in Canada, but just culturally, there are things that like people hold as values that are different than what you'd see in Canada.
Like give me an example. What do you mean?
I think a big one was a sense of patriotism.
Okay, yeah,
Like
that's what I figured.
in Canada here, like for sure people love Canada,
Mm-hmm.
but I guarantee you they don't love Canada the same way people in the States
Like 4th of July
love the US.
Yeah.
Like it's just night and day. You know? That was a big one that like I never really understood, especially like being in school. You had to sing not sing, but like say the Pledge of Allegiance every day.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
schools?
I'm assuming all schools, but like yeah, it was weird. Like you'd stand up, like I pledge allegiance to like.
Okay,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
It's like China, bro.
Kind of, but like with a little more freedom. And you know what I thought was someone on my first week when I moved there, someone straight up like just turned around and like we were sitting like in English class or something. He just looked at me and goes, "So like, how do you enjoy freedom now that you're in the States?"
I mean, we saw a lot of that, or that became more apparent during the pandemic. If you were to compare, like at least Montreal
What do you mean?
or Canada,
Like the
in
differences
general.
between the two?
Yeah, like the way both countries handled it and the amount of freedom that we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, like now, actually, yeah, like so you lived through the pandemic as well. So like after
I lived through it here.
you lived through it here, exactly. Yeah. And based on what I know or heard was in the States, it was like it's like a completely different story. I have a cousin in Texas, and apparently like they just look at you weird if you have a mask on.
For sure.
And here's
For sure. It's like You need to know U.S. history to understand it, and that's like the big divide between states' rights and like federal law, essentially. But every state feels that they have the right to govern their people the way they want to govern it versus the federal government who wants to impose like mass law over everyone. And that'll change depending on who's in power. Like obviously Trump versus Biden's policies are worlds apart in terms of what they want to do. But are we still in reference to the differences of Canada and states?
like do you like I'm basically asking what would you prefer? Like long term, or do you see yourself living in Canada, or do you see
Professionally, the states. I think hands down, just the states make more sense in terms of tax laws. I fucking hate giving my money to the government. It's my least favorite time of the year. In terms of like culture and people, depends what part of the states. Like I don't know that I'd really want to live in the South.
Yeah, I want to just visit the states and like go through it just to see.
Tons of fun.
Because like every state is like a different country, I heard. Or like there's like a whole different culture in each state.
I don't know about different country. I feel like Kirby told you that's a little the exaggerated side, but there's definitely like you go to Vermont versus Alabama, you're worlds apart.
Or like New York versus LA.
New York versus LA
is like the most common.
Similar but different, like same hustle and bustle, just one of them really likes granola and the other one's more like intense about what they're trying to do, like for sure. All
right, so what about like long term or like near term, I guess? Like what are your plans now as a chef in Montreal?
I'm looking to get out of the industry.
Really?
Actually, yeah. I need a break. Like I need.
What industry would you go into?
For me, the next logical step, like something that I'd be able to make a decent amount of money in, at least in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm definitely going to go and try and find out, would be food distribution. Going into something like a sales position there. I intend to go back to school as well. That's something I'm interested in doing kind of part-time on the side.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I just hit a point where, like I said, like, you know, you look around you, everyone's life's going and they're doing well, but they have a life, right? Like, I haven't seen my mother in like 3 months kind of thing, like, or my family in general. Or you know, having a girlfriend is fucking difficult.
Yeah, it's practically impossible.
Like I mean, Sunday is her day off, and then it's just Monday, Tuesday for me. And like Sundays, like I think the first few times I was actually seeing her, I'd have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I had gotten home at like 5 a.m. the night before. It'd be 6 Red Bulls and a huge pot of coffee, and then I'm like, okay, like, you know, you don't want to be that guy. Like, dog shit.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, and like fucking go do something.
How's your week?
Yeah, like you try to make that effort, but like it's taxing. Like it wears down on you.
For sure.
Like especially with this, like the week off that I have, like I feel fucked because I'm not constantly drinking coffee to be like ready to go.
Yeah.
Like my body's tired. Like I feel all those pains that I've been ignoring for years now.
Yeah. It's like you're like rebalancing in a sense, right?
And that's the thing is like these guys who are chefs professionally, like just abuse their bodies until what? I mean, eventually you're gonna have to have some repercussion for what you've done to it, either whether it's being alcoholic or fucking taking pills to be able to stay focused and awake all the time. Like
for sure, that's like a common thing I find is like telling yourself, "Oh, I'm so young. Like this is the time to grind," and like
for sure. The way I see it in my head is like, yeah, I'm 23, pretty much made of common rubber at this point. Like I'm gonna be fine no matter what comes at me now. But like, in 10 years, I'm not gonna be able to do the same job without really fucking feeling it.
Yeah, and that's gonna have like that's gonna fuck up other aspects of your life automatically. Like it's all gonna hinge off of that, you know.
For sure.
Okay, dope, man. So like, I'm excited to see.
No, me too. I'm hoping eventually. I mean, look, do I know where I'm going to end up in 10 years? Now? No. If I wanted to stay in the industry, I think in 10 years, I would definitely have to have my own place or else I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you still have plans of having your own place if you're able to one day?
Maybe. I don't know that it would be in the fine dining world. Like, I think that's just...
Be more of like I see it more like a franchise thing.
Maybe not even like I feel like even franchise is a little soulless. I feel like it'd have to be like a small kind of...
What if you create the first soulful franchise?
I think everyone who's ever created a franchise has set out with that goal. And it ends up being...
Money,
man. For sure, I'll be the trendsetter. You just wait. Yeah, I don't know. It always ends up having to be standard. Because when you get into franchises, again, like you're trying to make money, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You can't make money.
The capitalism aspect.
For sure.
Always, you
For
know.
sure. The
Like,
two just don't seem to mesh very well.
yeah, the art world and that side never works. But like, yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but I feel like with the pandemic and everything, we're like changing the way things are being done. So maybe we are gonna go towards a world that does things differently. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to like end this on a depressing note, but
Oh yeah. Is that it?
yeah, man. So
That's no depression. I mean, look, I'm happy with the decision I'm making. It's not gonna be like a, you know what I mean? Like it's the next course or the next way I'm gonna go about things. And I'm happy about that.
yeah.
Everyone else around me doesn't seem to be too thrilled, but
Well, in what sense?
you lose a cook, especially someone who's been there for
Oh
an
yeah,
amount of
for
time.
sure,
Yeah,
for
like,
sure, yeah.
you know, it sucks because you need to train someone up again.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
at
It's
that
what we were
spot.
talking about before, like to be able to trust somebody and like find that camaraderie is gonna be like,
Exactly.
another mission.
It takes time. Change is never something they like in the industry. But you know,
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Think
It's all about
yourself
you.
first.
Take care of number one. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming, man.
Thank you
It's
for
fucking
having me.
dope. I
You
got
kidding
to
me?
learn a lot about the cooking world.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just saying the wrong words. The culinary industry.
Just the industry.
Just the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
The industry. And yeah, it would be dope to have you on in the future. Because I want to do this forever, so that's what I keep telling myself. So I'll have you on in the future when
For sure.
maybe like 5 years from now, or like maybe even next year.
See where
something
things go.
crazy happens. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Or if you open up your first Nick's
Soulful franchise.
Yeah, Nick's Dicks.
Just hot dogs.
Yeah, just
Let's
straight
go.
glizzies. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Cool,
Thanks a lot,
man.
man.
Yeah, thanks for
Appreciate it.
having me.